Welcome to our docuseries, World War II, Music, Film, and Culture. I'm your host, Finney McFarland, and on today's segment, we'll discuss the lighter side of World War II culture, including music, film, and the technological advances that made it all possible in the 1940s. In order to review some of the major characters of the day, the men and women whose contributions to the arts during this period impacted not only their own day, but had a profound influence even on our day, we will need to climb into our time machine. So here is our time machine. Remember before you get in to take off any formal clothes or any clothes you don't want to get ruined. Let's go back to 1945. It's a little bit dusty in there, but that's okay. Here we are in the year 1945. Our first guest is Wilbur Schwartz, a founding member of the Glenn Miller Orchestra, who plays clarinet and alto saxophone for the group. The Glenn Miller Orchestra was one of the most popular swing bands in history and became a dance music staple in the 1940s.
Well, as you know, Finney, our band formed in 1937, but our big break came in 1939 when we were asked to play at the Glen Island Casino outside New Rochelle, New York. Our band was featured in films and dancers loved us. Of our 121 singles to make the charts, 69 were top 10 hits and 16 reached number one. In just a 4-year career, our songs spent a cumulative total of 664 weeks, nearly 13 years on the charts, 79 of which were at number one position. We were a big band, swing band.
Now that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to play you a couple of bars of one of his most famous songs, Chattanooga Choo Choo. Give it to me!
One, two, hit it, baby.
Now that's jazz.
True.
The Andrews Sisters, another influential group of that era, were featured in that song. We have one of the sisters here today.
During the 1940s and 50s, film and music influenced each other. Benny Goodman, Frank Sinatra, and the Andrews Sisters, and of course Glenn Miller, were movie stars along with top charting singers. It paved the way for other musical acts you may have heard of, like Elvis.
Thank you very much. Popular movies during World War II were, predictably, war films and war documentaries. Because more than 16 million Americans served in World War II, the war and its impact back home were a shared experience. I'm going to write, direct, and star in a brief example of a war movie. Yeah!
I crashed on enemy territory, but I think I can find the secrets.
Yep, the secrets are still here. Where'd you go? So you're hiding in the bushes. Well, I'll burn you out.
Now go.
A short personal show and tell. In preparation for this docuseries, we visited the Army surplus store in Bend. We asked if they had some World War II era gear to use in our video. Although they really didn't have anything that worked, another customer, Eileen McClelland, volunteered to let us use some of her father's gear from World War II. She lent to us strangers 3 boxes of memorabilia along with this dress uniform. Her father, whose name was Tom Harper, was a field artillery gunner who shot a 155 howitzer field gun fighting Nazi troops in Italy. Included in this memorabilia is this dress uniform right here, his field dress hat, a box of field manuals and instructions for his gun, photos taken from his time in Italy, and a Nazi flag taken off a soldier after a battle. Mr. Harper, who was from Junction City, was married for 55 years and died at the age of 82. Not only do I appreciate Eileen McClellan and her lending us this important part of history, but we appreciate the service of Tom Harper. Some of the other most famous examples of war movies were Devil with Hitler, Blondie for Victory, A Yank in the RAF, That Night in Rio, and Desperate Journey.
Tell the men to stand by for crash landing.
Attention! 5 dangerous commandos are loose in the Vaterland, and they must be caught. They are too dangerous.
That was from the 1942 film Desperate Journey, which starred a very young Errol Flynn and Ronald Reagan. Propaganda films were also important and helped build support for the war. The Why We Fight series were important films made by Frank Capra, who was already well known for his movie You Can't Take It With You and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Capra's films often starred Jimmy Stewart, another World War II veteran who became a brigadier general when he enlisted in the Army, even though he had already won an Academy Award. Comedies were also popular and helped take everyone's minds off the war. Blondie for Victory was a war movie based on the Blondie comic strip. Charlie Chaplin, Bob Hope, and Bing Crosby were amusing diversions. After the war, the film industry began a period of decline. During the war, the public had counted on the film industry for news, reel, updates, documentaries, war movies, and comic relief. The development of sound and other new technologies brought people to the movies in droves, even during a time when most people didn't have a lot of extra money. By 1953, box office receipts had fallen to half the 1946 levels. Because of this film industry boom during World War II, many advances were made to support this popular medium. And that's true. Thomas Edison's patent of the phonograph, which could play sound and music in sync with the film, and then sound recording on film, revolutionized the industry and literally changed the face of the movie industry. Here's Thomas Edison. This is Tommy Boy. This isn't an original Thomas Edison phonograph, but the idea is just the same. And this is it. Right?
The technology that was developed in the 1920s and 30s is still in use to some extent today. The soundtrack recording onto film technology was used from the 1930s all the way through the early 2000s and has only recently been replaced by digital sound recording.
And that's true.
Rolling.
The World War II era was a golden age of American movies. Not only did Hollywood have its most stable period economically, from 1942 to 1945, but many famous and influential actors and directors made their mark during this time, such as John Huston, Alfred Hitchcock, Orson Welles, and the others we've mentioned during this segment. Please join us next time as our docuseries continues. This has been Finney McFarland, Mrs. Toussaint's class, period 7. Good night and good luck. Please join us next time as our docuseries continues. This has been Finney McFarland, Mrs. Toussaint's class, period 7. Good night and good luck. What else does Elvis say?
Sure, just do that again.
Thank you very much. And that's true.